Hey. Good morning. If I can do it after staying and partying purpose to the end, you can do it. So thanks for joining us for the Ask Anything session. My name is Kirsten Oline. I'm with the Director of Meetings with the American Society for Microbiology, and I'm also a member of your PCMA Board of Directors. And so it's my pleasure to introduce our panel today. I hope that you're all thinking of questions that you can stump them with. They're ready for the challenge. So we've got 4 people here for you today. Dahlia, who just goes by Dahlia, is known in the events industry as the go-to source for tech news, education, and solutions for busy event professionals. Along with her Dahlia Plus team, she is Convening Leaders resident tech expert, presenting various sessions in Tech Central. Keith Johnston is a managing partner at i3 Events, an award-winning writer and publisher of PlannerWire, founder and CEO of Eventagist. Did I get that right? Stefania Conti-Vecchi is a consultant and coach who specializes in designing meetings using new technologies and new techniques to get the most out of any event. And last but not least, Tess Vismale, is that right? Is Chief Event Executioner for iSocial Execution Incorporated, a tech evangelist with Dahlia Plus, and holds the title of Senior Event Lead at the Atlanta Botanical Garden. Please welcome Dahlia, Keith, Stefania, and Tess.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. So this is going to be kind of different. We do so many different sessions on technology and on best practices in social media. So we wanted to just change things up a bit. You can ask us any type of question that is tech related, social media related, project management, anything at all. I know that's gonna make me. I see one person, 2 people that are gonna have too much fun with that. So we wanted to. There's no slides. There's no presentation. This is truly an open discussion, and it's all about you. So I do hope that you have questions, or you're saying, well, what about Slack, or I want to eliminate emails from my company. Wouldn't that be an awesome, sweet? I want to delete the reply all button, stuff like that. We do have a couple of pet peeves, but we're gonna try to share with you not only new solutions that you can use during your events or within your team, but we're gonna share new trends with you as well, so that you are prepared for what's coming in the future with technology. Fair? Yeah. So we're going to go live. I'm going to be the driver. So any question that you give to the tech guru team here, we're going to talk about solutions by just diving into them live. Ready? So who's first? Oh, wait, Catchbox. Here we go. Introducing the Catchbox. Test, is it on?
It will be when you throw it.
Oh, I have to throw it? I'm going to throw it to you, not at you. Well, maybe actually I should have. I'll show it.
Throw it. Throw it. That's the point.
So, first thing, what?
You whipped out.
I did whip it out. I sort of do sometimes. But, so the Catchbox is very, very cool, because this is how it can be very interactive, within team, company meetings, or it could be conferences, breakout sessions, as long as you have a good aim, which I really don't sometimes. But, Catchbox. All right, who has the first question?
Well, I guess I'll go.
Okay, good. How appropriate.
I know, right? My name's Anthony. I'm from the Hiltons of DC. On the supplier side, we have the opportunity to showcase our properties during site visits and stuff like that, but a lot of times our customers can't make it. And so we have like the virtual tour that we have on our websites and photographs, but what have you seen properties do, or I guess other companies do virtually, to help better sell their product from desk to desk?
Who wants to take this one?
First,
No one.
I want to say Tess. Well, yeah.
We are not getting stumped on the first question.
Well, virtual tours is really taken, I think, off. I'm not saying that just because I'm a digital event strategist, but I think the virtual space itself is evolving to a point where the layperson, if you will, is embracing it a little bit more, because they're seeing all the cool gadgets coming out with virtual reality, producing video videos with that, utilizing the Google Cardboard, and that's becoming more accessible, especially price point wise for people. So I'm seeing that hotels, venues, actually all venues, university campuses are actually have created and have several virtual tours online that you actually can experience that venue and or property or place in a way that's much more different than just, let's say if I did a conference call with you in video web, but I actually have a device where I can see the tour I'm following with you. Like for instance, outside we have a beam that you can roll around, you can log in and roll around a venue, and someone can be walking you through that particular tour. So I see that is going to take off more often. The devices will become more nimble as time goes on. But definitely that communication coming on, and it's really about experiential.
And depending on the relationship you have with your client, if even if you've never met them, if it's a good relationship, you've talked to them a little bit, and they call you up and they're like, we're just not sure about the pool area, or we're just not sure about the ballroom, or can you show me where electrical outlets are? That can sometimes be a big thing for a meeting event planner. You have an entire video production studio in your pocket. That goes so far in addressing the fears of a planner that you'll do that. Grab someone with you, walk down to the ballroom. Hey, here we are. Hey, take a look. Here's where the outlets are. Here's where this is. Go out by the pool. Hey, you didn't think that your reception would fit with 200 people. But have a look. And those things. Sometimes I think the virtual reality tours can be, they're fantastic for me as a planner when I don't want to talk to a salesperson.
Why would you want to do that?
And I want to check it out just to make sure it's going to fit before actually I waste your time or waste my time. But then when you're getting to the point where you want to close a deal or you want to address those concerns and those fears of a planner, that's a great way to do it. And it's really personal. And it can be, and it's pretty easy. That's it.
I can add something. We did it with a client that was a venue, is a venue, still a client, and they have, you can book a virtual tour. This is something that is happening in real time. This is not a virtual tour like we used to think about it. So you have a person, you can really drive the person here or there, maybe after they received all the information, pictures or whatever. So, and you can do it as he was saying, in a really simple way. You can use Skype, you can use whatever, conference call system or video call system you want to use. You just need to have a good connection in the area you are going to show to your clients, and keep this option on your website. You can book a virtual tour. This is with a person, showing you what you want to see. That's a great plus.
So the only things I'm going to add on is, and I've seen this being done more so recently, what they've shared with you is perfect when people want to do like an in-person tour, but think of it as when it's virtual tours or virtual reality, especially from a marketing perspective. So there's an opportunity there to use like even something as simple as a Google Cardboard. So these run really low in price, but if you come up with a design or a concept to showcase your venue, this is a great promotional thing to send in the mail, and basically you set it up so that they are having, it's like a teaser, right? But it's in a cool way, and it goes viral within your office very, very quickly. So just think of this as not only offering virtual tours on your website, like by booking it and scheduling them, or like it's almost in person now, because you're sharing your screen,
I gotta
basically.
say, as a planner, if I got Google Cardboard in the mail, I would open that up and share it around.
Yeah. So
and it's brandable. I mean, you can
totally
brand them, and they're really. I mean, if you want to try some, I have two on the Digitech bar that I've been showing people, which is really cool. So you can experience it as well.
Go ahead.
How does it work exactly? I can show you. I have one actually on my phone because I was at the Singapore dinner last night, and they had the cardboard cardboard boxes on everyone's table. So this is literally on my phone from last night. And you put your phone in and then you
Right.
do a whole little tour.
And we have the boxes on our table.
Yeah, so I can put this in it so you can have a look at it.
Yeah, you slide your phone into it. And then
Right, and then the video actually is coming with you and you do it. And like I said, there's several out there that are already pre-planned.
Yeah, so you just have it on your YouTube channel, but they have the Google goggles, so to speak. I call them, my daughter calls them Google goggles. But one other thing that I wanted to show you as well is, and this is brand new, but we want you to think outside of what you know, right? So Georama does tours, virtual tours on destinations, attractions, and you can utilize this for your venue or even for your destination and basically give that experience. And what's great about it is that you can do this of a venue, but you can also create guided tours. And so those guides that are chosen become brand ambassadors for you. They have their own followers, they have their own tribes. So this is a different way of looking at viral marketing from a destination or a venue perspective. So check it out, Georama.
Yeah, it's really cool. A lot of the campuses and universities use it.
Yep. So next question, or what is, I can't read.
Catchbox, throw it on. Who's next? Raise your hand. Raise your hand and catch all at the same time.
Sean.
This isn't really a tricky one, I'm guessing, but I can't figure it out. On Facebook, how do you do it so you can review something before it's out there with your name tag to it? I.e., you took a horrible picture of me at IAE. and pulled some flattering things out. And so Jen Mitchell untagged herself. And I thought it was rude if I untagged myself.
No.
But I wouldn't have approved it had I seen it first.
Yeah.
So how do you do it?
So in the settings section, in the securities, in the settings section, there's this place in there where you have control over your tagging. And then what'll come up in your and then on the home page, which you'll go to after she shows you where that is, on the home page, you'll see on the right it says activity log. And the activity log is, right in there. And then the activity log, it should be under privacy, notifications. On the left.
An activity log?
No, you'll see the activity log. So it's under notifications to the left. Yeah. And then you should be able to pull out your tags in there.
Where?
It's kind of it doesn't look like everyone else is looking. So, note there, tags.
Yep.
Right there. So then you can approve your tags or not. Then go to the home page.
I'm seriously impressed you did that all from memory.
I did.
This team together.
I did. Okay, so go to the home, to your page, your profile.
All right.
Okay, so on the right where it says view activity log, then right in there, it'll come up as the post is like pending. And actually you'll see it's like it'll be underneath that and it'll show you on that page, it'll say post pending. Then you'll click into it, you'll see it there, and then it'll say such and such has tagged you. You can go and look at it, and if you like it, it's great. You publish, quote unquote, publish it, or no?
Or you can say, it's Dahlia El Gazzar.
No, of course you'll let it go. So that's where you can have that control. One thing I always tell people is no matter what solution you download, whether it's you download it on your mobile device or even a desktop and you're going into a website or anything like that, the first thing you should do is go to settings. You have to go to settings because if we are not here, the Digitech bar to help you walk you through it, you need to know how to use that application, and that is the best way that you can be self-taught on it because it'll give you the flexibility to choose all the things you want, and that's usually the place people never think about going until they have an issue or a problem, whereas it should be the first place you go because it'll help you learn what you can turn off, turn on,
biggest secrets. People are all the same everywhere in the world. We all have the same questions. Therefore, someone else has had that question before. So if you go to Google and you just Google, how do I untag myself? It'll come right up. It's absolutely amazing. And it's amazing how many times somebody will call me and go, how do I do this? And I can't know everything, so I'll just Google it and go, oh, here's the steps you take. And that works for anything, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook. Somebody else has had that question before you, before us, so it's there.
Definitely.
I would recommend this truly on any social media platform that you are on, because a lot of times they change the privacy settings without you knowing.
Absolutely.
Especially on LinkedIn, hint, hint. So you have to walk yourself through it, talk yourself through it, like all the settings, and say, do I want the notifications? Or do I want everybody contacting me? Or trying to friend me? Or trying to connect with me? Or what type of opportunities should they be connecting with me?
It's even a big time saving.
Oh yeah, for sure. And saves a lot of spam. Good
Okay.
catch.
Here's a question. Notifications. Explain what that is. I mean, I know that it says, will you accept, and you get like badges and blah, 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 blah. What does that really mean?
In any platform, just in general, or?
In Facebook or in,
Facebook or LinkedIn.
Okay.
I've seen it in both of those, and I always say don't allow because I don't really know what that entails.
you wanna take this?
Sure. So notifications in general is it's a way for that solution to contact you, period. Okay? And they need to notify you that certain things are going on and you need to be aware of. That's what the notifications are in general. And then there are various different types depending on what the platforms are. Like for instance, in the mobile app, they're doing push notifications, meaning they're sending information to you. Hey, come get your LinkedIn profile done in 10 minutes over in a data tech bar, something like that. So that's them telling you what needs to happen.
Is it tied into marketing things? So as an example, if I was looking at Nordstrom's for a black tie gown, is that one of those where then all of a sudden when I go into Facebook, I'm gonna see tons of ads for?
That's different.
a whole
That's different.
That's different.
That's totally
Okay.
different.
Okay.
That's totally
So
separate.
notifications has to do with the media source that I'm in.
Yes.
It has to do strictly with that tool.
So think of it as a stream of activity that they don't want you to miss.
Yep.
So
And-
like, for example, like on LinkedIn, where you see the notification stream right now, it tells you how many connections you have, and it's in glances, so it's, so you see everything in one feed, so to speak. Now you can have it so that your notifications, that's the information that you want to be aware of or on top of, and it will stay within the platform itself. Some people prefer to have the notifications come into their email box. How many people do that? They still have, oh, thank you.
I do it and I don't like it.
I do it and I don't like it. So this is cluttering your inbox. It's the same as with Dropbox. You have an activity feed. How many people use Dropbox? So you do have an activity feed. It's notifications, who's downloaded, Tess edited, Keith viewed it, all of that. You can keep all of that activity within the platform. It forces you to go to the platform, and it declutters your email.
Notifications is also probably the second stop you should make after settings.
Yep.
Because I don't know, I know everything that's going on in my world, so for me, notifications are mostly crap. So I just turn them off.
And then for me, I look at it differently, like different platforms I do different for different reasons. Ones I know that I'm not going to very often, I get the notifications to remind me to go back to it because I'll be too busy doing other things. So that sends me back, but I do streamline it, whereas the majority I don't have notifications. And you can even get notifications in your text to you as well. Like this wonderful sale at Nordstrom's is going on today, and you might need to visit. But those are, in general, it's just communication.
Thank you very much.
Is this helpful?
again, and I work with a smallish meeting planning company. There's about 20 of us. And one of my goals for this conference was to figure out how to streamline our internal communication. We're talking about the project management software, and there's tons of good options out there that my colleague and I have been seeing and researching this week. But my difficulty is that we've got people in our office that are 23 and people in our office that are 60. And the higher end employees are really afraid. Like, we recently did Dropbox just to get everything in one place so people could go and research. And the older generation who's used to doing the email and used to doing all the old school stuff does not want to, you know, how do I get in there? I don't know, I'm just not gonna do it. So we've got stuff in Google Docs, we've got Google Calendar, we've got Dropbox worksheets and this and that and the other, and we wanna just get rid of it. So my question is, having that kind of a conflict with what the comfort factor is, where should I look, or what are the best recommendations for a project management software for my particular situation?
Does anybody have the same issue? When someone goes rogue and they just want to hit the reply all
Or the various in tech levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand Dropbox.
Oh, that's good. Well, we can explain that.
We can get to that one in a minute. Project management is a really, really tricky thing, and I have an event planning company, so we actually have gone through all of the pain that you're now going through. And I get where you're coming from with the older generation, but in our organization, some of the older ones are the ones that have picked up on it the most. What you really have to do is have a core team of people that finds the right project. I can't tell you what project management solution is best because there are a lot of them, and believe it or not, most of them are very good. It just depends on how you guys want to work and how does it integrate. Does it integrate with Dropbox? Does it integrate with Slack? Does it integrate with all of these other great tools? And if you're using those tools, then you need that project management. To get people to use it, you have to force them. You have to say, to-do items can no longer be emailed. No one will respond to them. And that's what we did. And it's amazing. When someone goes to a new job or whatever, and then they have new software that you have to learn, you learn it, right? Because it's what you do to keep your job. So you really have to just say, this is it, guys. This is the way it's going to be. And if you go outside the box, you're outside the box. Sorry, it's cold out there. But with those people, and there are going to be younger people who struggle with these things as well, understand that it's hard for some people to learn things like that. It truly is. And so you have to take the time and bring someone in to work with them, if it's one-on-one or as a group or whatever, and take the time. And this was a very hard thing for me to do. Don't poo-poo their struggles. Because I can go into any project management system and it takes me 10 minutes to figure it out and use it, right? Other people, it takes them a long time, and it took me a long time to overcome that yeah, they don't get it. And so then you bring in the people that can sit with them, that isn't you getting frustrated with them for not using it, and that will take the time to teach them how to use it. What you will find is once you do that, your whole world changes. We picked up Slack for internal communications, and our teams don't email anymore, right?
That's a beautiful thing.
So email is now only with.
Sounds like, what?
Yeah, email is only now with clients.
And now you can do clients.
Yeah, now you can do clients with Slack. So Slack is the next email.
Yeah, I really like that. But I was just going to say this one quick thing. It's just make them, the team, a part of the process. So you have your core team that helps make the decision. That's great. But those other people you need to make them feel like they were a part of the decision-making process. Even if they just saw the presentation of your top 3 and then gave you some comments. They can just have a tertiary, but if they feel like they're an outsider in the process, those people who are not comfortable will shut down.
I can share with you the solution we found. I'm not telling you this is the solution I agree with you. There are tons of tools out there, so you need to find the best one for your needs. But for our conference, we found we had the same problem, Dropbox, Google Docs, and everything was everywhere, tons of mails, even because the organization team was, everywhere in the world. So the solution we found is Podio. Have a look at it. It is very, very easy to use. The strong point to me is it is really similar to the social media. So you know already how to use it. You can like things, you can do polls, and you can customize everything. And it is a drag and drop. You can even create forms that you can embed on your website so you can collect information, registrations, payment. It works with the Dropbox. It is integrated with GoToMeeting. So if you used to have conference calls with GoToMeetings and all the other stuff that are out there. So I think it is really a great tool, even to share documents, to like it, to approve them, to do whatever you need. You have a kind of app store. All the apps are free, and it is not even expensive as a tool. So just check it out and see if it can be useful for you and for your needs. This is.
When it comes to project management, or actually any solution that you're using or implementing in your workspace, we do workshops quite a bit with organizations. So we do what Keith was saying. You have to make them comfortable with their mobile devices. Take a look at the technology that's already in place. Don't try to scrap everything and then start over, because that causes anxiety to a lot of people. But when you look at the solutions, part of the due diligence is first and foremost access. So how accessible is the data that you're putting in from anywhere that you're at? So one of the missions, and Tess makes fun of me, but I'm doing this, and you guys will probably understand why I'm doing this, but our mission is to empower you with technology solutions so that you're untethered from your desktop or from the office, because everybody's working remotely, mostly right now, from a beach in Mexico with an umbrella drink. It's gonna happen. Get your little karma, little Wi-Fi thing, the drink, bad pictures of Sean on Facebook. But, so think of the access level. You want to access the data that you put in there, documents, to-do lists, chats, and everything from one platform. Yeah. Make sure it plays nice with other platforms so that you're not saving a file on Podio and then you have to save it on Dropbox. You're not doing that whole shuffle, and it's simple. It has to be a simple process. And then the other thing is it has to be intuitive. It can't be. You find platforms out there that literally it will take you weeks to learn, right?
Anybody remember Microsoft SharePoint?
Wait. Is anybody on SharePoint? You don't want to. Okay.
Oh,
sorry. No.
I'm not the only one.
Are you in academia?
Are you on SharePoint?
Yeah.
But do you have the mobile version?
No.
See, I'll play devil's advocate because I went in an international association, like huge, I'm not going to name names, where they thought the SharePoint, they wanted to scrap it. It turned out two things was, first and foremost, their older crowd was not trained on it properly. So you had those that went rogue and went the email route or went another route, or we're doing Dropbox. We're not using it correctly. There was no guidelines in place. Like literally, there was no plan, not even the naming conventions of the files or the folders. So you had version 2, version 150, right? And then the third thing, which was huge, was they did not have the right license.
Oh, wow.
And it was a eureka moment. I'm not sure if they're on SharePoint, but this is what you need to vet out. And a lot of times it does help to bring someone in from the outside because, your IT team, maybe they're not embracing the challenges or solutions that are mainstream right now. I mean, we're talking Podio. Are you wanting to us name like top 3 project management solutions that you want to look at?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So, so you have Podio, right? Keith, you want to name one?
Right.
Yeah, right is good. Right is good. You like her?
You want to talk about it? 1 minute. 2 minutes.
Oh.
Do it.
Well, here's the thing. They all basically do the same thing.
Right.
They're all going to integrate with Google Drive. They're all going to integrate with Dropbox. They're all going to be on your mobile phone. You know, so Podio and Rike are similar. They have the same features. You can tag people. You can have chats. For a lot of people that we work with, this just happens to be the one that is I'm a firm believer in keeping it simple. And we found that people can actually learn this one very, very easily.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Which is key, especially your clients, right?
exactly. And this one actually has a client component, so that the clients can actually come in and then only have access to what they need access to. And it's easy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have to worry about my team. But going back to something else that you said, before you implement anything, think about it, right? And get those naming conventions down on files, right? I mean, how many people, and I just got one today, it was attendee list V5. What does that mean? Yeah, right? And so that's why tools like Rike or Podio or Trello or whatever it happens to be, you know, those are really great, but unless you think about the rest of what you're doing, then you will struggle with them.
Teamwork. And then you know it. But then I am a firm believer in Basecamp for people who are not tech savvy and teams that are various in levels of tech. So those people who are familiar with tech, it's easy and simple for them to just keep going. And it's good because the people who are not, it's so friendly, it'll bring them kind of on and make them less tech phobic. Whereas the people who are advanced won't poo-poo on them. Because they'll still be in them, still be able to do some things, but it's not project management, it's more productivity. Even though Basecamp 3 has gotten much better, and it's more expansive. So that it's kind of flexible. So to me, that's usually the first stop when someone says, well, I don't know what to do. Or I have a team that's in various, I say, well, look towards Basecamp first. And then there are tons of things out there where you can move to a more robust system that's true project management versus the productivity. So sometimes you have to kind of take a leap and just try little things first to help.
So we gave you 4, not only 3.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Sorry.
And if you went dirt simple, Trello.
Yeah, Trello's colorful.
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
So
Drag.
That's a bonus.
Drag.
Yeah.
That's a bonus.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Trello.
It's gorgeous.
Trello is so
That's
easy.
cool.
It's literally you create channels basically with all your stuff and boards. And so we use it for some things, and you just have one that's the inbox, the doing, and the done. So what is it? The getting things done method or whatever, and then you just drag them across.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Just slide some more notes.
And again, just like the others, you can attach stuff from Dropbox, from Google Drive, and you can upload files. So again, they're all kind of the same. You just have to find them.
There's a question. Hello.
Hi, I'll stand up, make it easier.
Hey, SharePoint lady.
I actually have, yes, not related to SharePoint. I have 2 questions. One is there sort of a general rule or resource out there for those naming conventions? We are looking at a different way of saving and streamlining what we're doing right now, because currently I email out an attendee list and every single person saves it, right? So now we have 8 copies of the same list saved and that sort of thing. So we're looking at migrating to a OneDrive or
Dropbox.
Heaven forbid, SharePoint, but something to that effect. So I just, in coming up with, in learning what I need to go through, I know that I have to come up with rules for naming or policies for saving and things like that. Is there a resource out there already that kind of has, here, these are the things, this is a checklist that you need to think about, and here's what worked for us?
So I'm gonna flip this.
Okay.
So why is that resource not created by the internal champion of the system or solution? They would know you best.
That's a really good point. We're currently using a shared drive on a server that's just getting too full, and so we're looking at doing something else. So I kind of am the champion for making this move.
Something else on your plate. I'll help you with that one day.
I actually do have a thought on naming conventions, and only because I dabble in photography, and so the way that we've taken it is how photographers do it, which is you're going to do the year, the month, the day, and then whatever, if you're going to be having multiple copies, and then it's not V1, V2, it's just by date.
Right.
That you can do it, and then, so for us it would be the year, the month, the day, and then the client name, and then the event, right? So, and again, that makes it easy. But, I mean, a step further is try to get away from doing that and use tools that people can collaborate on the same document, so there's only one document.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? What is the plus of Dropbox? You have, if you change something, it takes a copy of everything that has been changed. So if you want to go back to a previous version, or if you delete a very important document, is there. Is always there, so no problems, no issues, nothing. You can always go back to the previous version, or you can always recover any file. So this is a plus, in my opinion. You're not losing,
You want to tell her what Dropbox is? Because she wanted us.
Yeah, Dropbox is, let's say, virtual hard disk for you, where you can save anything you want. You can save files, and you can save pictures. You can save. It's an hard disk, so you can buy space there. At the very beginning, it was, even the need of space was not such. Now they sell 1 terabyte for a very cheap price. It's around $89 per year, so it's very cheap. And the most important thing is they are now focusing on business. So you can collaborate on Dropbox. You have now it's a kind of badge appearing on your screen, and you can see, and you can see who is doing what to that specific document. And every time, exactly, you can see who is working on the document, what's going on, and I repeat it, all the history of the document is there. So everything that has been deleted is there, and you can recover whatever. And you can create groups, you can share documents. I cannot see people sending attachment anymore when they send emails. So this is the picture of the venue, or this is the map. Don't do it. We don't need to send out documents attached. Send a link to the document that is already online, and they can download it in an easy way when they want to do it. So even if you're abroad and you are using your data roaming, you can choose to go there when you are using hotel Wi-Fi or whatever. So there are a lot of things you can do with Dropbox. I don't know if you want to add something.
I was going to say, just to make it simple, just imagine Dropbox. Do you use a PC?
Yeah.
It's My Documents folder.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's a My Documents folder.
On steroids.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. It isn't. It truly is. It's just My Documents. Except now My Documents are here, and they're over there, and you can share it with somebody. And I mean, that's a really basic way to look at it, but to explain it to someone who doesn't understand what it is, it just replaces your My Documents folder.
Let me add this. I missed it. I should have said. When you download Dropbox, you have your Dropbox folder. It's a folder. It's in there, in your document, in your.
That's the desktop version.
Yeah.
So when you create your account on Dropbox or on Box or Google Drive, make sure that you're not accessing it only from a browser, not from Dropbox.com. That you are downloading your PC extension.
Exactly.
And so when you have a PC extension, so like this is my Mac right now or my computer, I have Dropbox right here.
It's
and
a
I have
folder.
Google Drive. So I don't have to keep going back to the browser. I have access to all my documents. I don't
Just
save it
like
to
my
the computer,
documents,
I save it straight into my Dropbox.
Is it being used when you're actually the user using it? What's the difference between Dropbox and Google Docs? I mean, it's the same, you're serving the same need, right?
Right.
It's different.
Dropbox is not.
No,
So
with
Google-
Dropbox, you can share too. You can have groups. You can.
I give you the difference to me, okay? To me, Dropbox is the best one because you can see when the documents are really synchronized or not. You have a green flag, and you can see if it is synchronizing or not. I'm missing this in OneDrive. I'm missing this in other tools. So this is the real difference to me. So I can see this is still synchronizing, so it is not already online, especially when you change presentation. They're really, heavy documents, and so it takes a while, no? And you know that the other person who is waiting or collaborating with you has no access to this specific version because it is still synchronizing. And you have everything offline, because when you go offline, you have everything in there. You only need to take into your mind that you can work there, you can change everything, but it will be synchronized when you are back online.
What's happening at the moment, though, is with file sharing and file storage platforms, whether it's Google Drive or whether it's Dropbox or whether it's Box.com, is they are turning into a task management solution for you. So going back to notifications and going back to knowing what the rest of the team is doing within your folders and your files, you'll see here, for example, if I open a file, on the right side, I'm able to comment. And I can, if I'm collaborating with someone, if I'm collaborating with Keith or Tess, all my communications about that specific presentation or file stays within Dropbox for you.
But Google Docs has that same feature.
It does. And so the difference is user. It's you.
Yeah.
You're the difference.
I mean.
So people tend to want to use Google Docs, and people want to tend to use Dropbox or Box, and then some people don't like Google Docs because they don't like the user interface of doing an Excel template, for example.
In a browser.
In a browser. So in the end, any of these solutions, the only difference is you.
Right. And so if you know that you want to use Excel and you know that you want to use Word, and then use Dropbox, right? And let Google go. Just let it go. If you're platform agnostic and you don't care, then pick the one that most of your team uses.
Okay. And if you've got, security phobia and you're in the health world, use Box.
Right.
It's HIPAA compliant. So, there are things that work for everybody.
And my one piece of advice on that is pick one and
Stay with it.
That's the main thing. This all is about sticking to a couple of solutions, making sure they play nice together, and stick to it.
And that's all well and good.
Evaluate the workflow.
I'm sitting up here right now telling you that we're still, we know better. And someone will be like, oh, I put that in Google Doc. It's like, oh, all right. And so I put it in Google. But,
So I have two questions really. One,
Did it kick off?
Have this
our
take
company
it closer.
just moved from Gmail back to Outlook. And just trying to find information on Outlook, you mentioned just type your question in Google, and that's always worked for me up until this point. There isn't a lot of good information about Outlook out on when you ask questions. The new hire platforms.
I'll do that.
I was just going to say, if you can't find it in Google, go to the second largest search engine in the world, which is YouTube.
Yep, that's great. Yeah.
That's great. That's actually true.
So, but it's not a lot. I would say this. I probably get in trouble for this, but Microsoft is in an evolutionary stage. So
Are you being diplomatic, like right now?
I am being diplomatic.
I don't like Microsoft right now. They're doing
I got to. So they're in an evolutionary stage. So during this process, it's a little can be a little bit painful for those users because it's not like they're pushing those notifications out to everyone to say every time they're changing the platform or every time they're doing something. You're just kind of coming up on it and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't do this anymore, or it's moved, or this and that and other. So the changes are coming, and that's not something that people know. They just get frustrated behind it. So that's another reason why you're not seeing a lot of communication or information out there on this, that, and other. But they're getting better.
Okay, so this is all new to us. My second question is, we have a lot of people using Facebook, LinkedIn. Internally, we have Salesforce, so we have Yammer and Chatter, and we have there's so many different places that we are supposed to communicate. But to the outside world, the inside world, we have these internal channels, and you have to navigate those. But outside world, LinkedIn versus Facebook, they seem to be the largest uses. Is there really a professional difference that we should recognize as Facebook more personal, LinkedIn more professional? Is there a balance that you find?
I'll go with LinkedIn is always going to be more professional, but no, with the blurring of the lines between personal and business, I get so much business stuff through Facebook now. You want to be where your audience is, right? You know, it's really funny, and I've told this story a lot of times while I've been here, but I have one client, and they have a lot of their attendees and their tribe, if you will, are on Facebook, like 63,000, but they still have an amazing group of people that live in a Yahoo group, right? And so they still go there, but they're not, but no one from their place is on Twitter, right? So they completely ignore Twitter. They're in Facebook, and then they spend a lot of time, and they have someone that monitors and moderates the Yahoo group because that's where people are.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just
So with that, it's you know, you have to take the time to find out where your audience lives, and then be where they are, and nowhere else, right?
Yep, and that requires research and asking.
Yeah.
I give you just some food for thought. I'm not checking my LinkedIn account every 2 minutes as I do with my Facebook account. So we are all on Facebook. So if you want to reach people, yeah, probably when I send out my communication into groups on LinkedIn, I know they can be published 1 or 2 days later because they need to be approved by. So sharing a news or sharing something on LinkedIn takes time. It's not a kind of real-time interaction. So it depends, you know. But if these two are the two platforms, just think about, I'm receiving the information I want and I need from the pages I liked. And I'm using it for work as well. For sure, if you want to use a personal account, you need to be to pay attention and to create kind of circles or of people you want to share. You know, the picture of your daughter, or if you're in bikini somewhere in Maui or things like that. This is up to you if you want to share this kind of information, for sure. But and I usually don't do it, you know. But for the rest, I would say use both in a different way. We've checked more often Facebook for sure.
It is perfectly acceptable to have a bit of a process between personal and
Absolutely.
You know that you can create on Facebook groups, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the other setting that you can put on here. I'm going to play devil's advocate because I know that people talk about Facebook and LinkedIn quite a bit, but Instagram is growing, like tremendously. And, you know, if anything, you have to figure out ways where you can embrace Instagram for professional as well as personal. But one of the latest trends that I've seen recently, which makes sense, is people are blogging on Instagram.
Yep.
Because it is, you know, you have the visual, and then you have the short article. It's longer than Twitter.
Yep.
And for now.
Yes, for now.
But, you know, think of it that way. Whether you're doing events, whether your destinations, whatever your profession is, see how you can own your voice and your brand on Instagram, not only Facebook and LinkedIn. Go ahead. No worries.
Create groups within Instagram as well.
So in Instagram, I don't know if you can create groups, but you can create, obviously you're gonna get followers. You are able to group message followers. They have to be following you.
And you can
forward
post a post as a direct message to someone else.
I don't know, this is kind of shot thing on my part, but I always think of Instagram for brands as more of a billboard than an actual true network.
Well, it's changing, it's
It
shifting,
is.
it's shifting a lot.
It's
Like
shifting
even
quite a
I've
bit.
seen people use Pinterest at events.
In my content marketing thing I did, I pulled up my John Deere, the tractor people, have 166,000 followers on Instagram. They have like 1 million on LinkedIn and 2.5 million on Facebook. And you know, their audience are the last people you would think are using social media, and they are doing it in a spectacular fashion.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Okay, I need to go back a few steps.
Sure.
Dahlia, you mentioned something when we were discussing the Dropbox box,
Yes.
whatever. Okay, so direct. Okay, so one of the points you made is that we should do something instead of having to access it from a browser.
The comment.
Download the extension.
Download the extension. And how do you do that?
So you go to
What do you mean?
dropbox.com,
Right.
PC extension,
There's a big button.
and there's
Yeah,
a
it's a
big
big
button that
button.
says download.
Nothing
And-
else.
Yeah. Do you have your PC with you?
No, I have my tablet.
Okay. Do you have Dropbox on your tablet?
Yeah, I think I do. I have an app here. Hold on. Here's an app for that. No, I don't have it on here.
You want to show them what the button looks like too?
Yeah. Let me see.
See, and you notice how it popped up there in the browser? That means 100 million other people have had the same question.
Okay.
Want me to
So
email
I
you this
did that.
URL?
No, I've done that.
Okay.
So it just shows up on my laptop.
Yep. and
As
on
an
the left
icon
side.
there.
Yeah,
What,
yeah,
or do
yeah,
you
go
still
ahead.
call them icons? What do you call them? Okay.
But also, you know, it'll be right over on the left-hand side, right below my documents or.
So yeah. Sometimes it goes away. I don't know why for me, but I got it.
Shouldn't go.
Right.
And
Because
then
it's
also,
messing with you.
No, so what you do is you download it, and then when you go into your file explorer,
yes,
right,
it's there on the
you'll
left.
see it left on the left
Right.
menu.
And then you can go into settings too
Right.
within Dropbox at the top right, top right on the toolbar,
Okay.
top right on the toolbar.
Top right on the
On the
toolbar.
toolbar with Dropbox is logo.
All the way to the
Right.
right. All the way to the right.
The other right, yes, right. Right. Your
Your
other right.
other
Your
right.
other
That
right.
file. Okay.
Your other right. Keep going. The icon. Yes. So click that.
Right, there we go.
Right. And then go down to the settings.
Down here to the right.
There you go. And then you want to go to preferences.
Okay.
Okay, right there. And then you want to go to account.
Okay.
Okay, so right in this section, right, this is why you need to master your settings area.
That's correct.
So right in this little piece right here, go to see where it says selective sync.
Yes.
Click that, change settings. That brings up all your folders, right? Wait for it.
Okay.
Wait for it. It'll come up. So let's click one of the folders. Doesn't matter. Just click the folder. So that folder has a check mark on it. That means she's decided that she wants to see all of those folders from Dropbox. So like when Stefania was talking about syncing,
Yes.
everything lives in the cloud in Dropbox.
Sure.
But you can choose which ones you actually want to have on your desktop. Let's say for instance, you don't have a whole lot of files, storage space on your desktop.
Right,
You can
right.
just choose which ones you actually want to see. So you'll see on the left, she only has a few checked. So she's only looking at a few, but she can still see through here what she wants. So she can go back to, say, a client that she's done with and finished.
Right.
She'll uncheck it, it'll stay up in Dropbox
Right.
versus actually
On
on
your
her.
laptop.
Right, but it's not taking up space.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing for anybody who travels with like a small computer that has like the little 256
Right.
gigabyte hard drive, SSD drive. You can eat up all that space in no
In no
time at all.
time.
This is a great way to not do that.
And so the other question I have, you guys are talking about these various things, and you said Box, you said Dropbox, you said Google Docs.
OneDrive and
OneDrive, right.
Google.
So OneDrive is basically the same thing,
Yeah.
but it's a specific product? I mean,
OneDrive is Microsoft.
Microsoft, that's what it is.
And then
Okay.
Google Drive is Google.
Right, got it.
And again,
Jan had a question, I think,
Two questions.
Two questions.
and then there was one over here. I know somebody raised their hand.
Right here.
So Jan, you go. No, Jan, go ahead.
Okay,
Hit it.
so,
5 minutes.
two questions. One is, I know most of you on the stage, except you, I know the other one.
You know
Except
her.
her. I don't know.
Stefania Conti-Vecchi.
I have not.
From Italia. Madonna, porca
But you can
miseria.
still answer the question, because I know you guys are prolific on social media. Do you guys do your own social media, or do you have somebody back in the office that's saying, hey, I'm doing this session right now? Can you just?
I do mine.
Yeah, but you can use Hootsuite, you can use other tools and schedule everything. So for sure, I'm not typing, I'm doing the session in 15 minutes, 15 minutes before the session. That's for sure, yeah. It depends. If it is a big event, we have some social media person who are helping us, and then they have a kind of a list of things to do, depending on what period is and what kind of information they need to share, at what time, what is the audience. So, and you can really create a kind of plan, and using this kind of.
So does Hootsuite, is there one product that will do LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
Hootsuite.
So is that new that they just added LinkedIn?
No,
They always had LinkedIn.
Couple years.
But Hootsuite, the new thing is you can do Instagram.
Yeah.
Right.
But they always had LinkedIn to a point where you can post within groups.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't
But
have.
that's dicey right
It's
now.
very good.
Because you have all these rules and regulations from the
LinkedIn's not
admins.
that friendly on
And-
average, but
Yeah.
Hootsuite is a good all-encompassing.
Yeah, and LinkedIn is going through some stuff too. I mean, they you used to have apps that LinkedIn could integrate with, and now it can't.
Yeah.
And
They're making some changes.
and then all of a sudden it'll pop up like, hey, connect your LinkedIn account. And now I use a lot of apps, Buffer, and a few others, that every 3 days it asks me to refresh my LinkedIn
Yeah, it
account.
does.
And I'll be honest with you, and this is bad for LinkedIn, it's going to get to a point where I'm going to go, no, I'm good. Right?
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to do that again. So.
Just like the pain points on Microsoft.
So I know we're running out of time. Is there any other questions?
She
that you
had
have?
one. Go
Okay.
right there. We're
Oh,
not.
we have two.
Yeah.
questions.
Ask.
Okay, so my association puts on a really big conference every year. And when we put together our specs to send to our AV company and the convention center and our general service contractor and everybody, we use this really complicated and twisted access database to put it all together and print it out in a way that looks pretty for us and for them. Is there any other system we can use besides access that would do something similar?
That was totally my question too.
Ours
But we use Word, and it ends up being like 150 pages, and it's good for some of my vendors, but not really good for me. And then we still have like 50 spreadsheets.
So you're actually talking about. Well, no, but are you specifically talking about a system that you can put in your event data, and it will?
And it will print it out in a nice way.
Yeah, there's actually a number of them. Grenadine does it. You can put in all your event stuff. And then there's another one that I'm testing next week. But basically, you'll go in and you would put in all the rooms in the conference or convention center, and then you add the AV, what you're going to need for AV, or you can send it to the AV company and then they can add what they're going to need. But there are systems that are coming online that are really good.
Is that it?
Yeah. We've actually been testing this for about 3 months, and it's actually not bad. It does have the ability. These guys don't have the integrations yet, which is why it probably won't fly for us. Like you can't integrate with Dropbox and you can't integrate with Google Drive. But it's coming. But it's pretty selective. And I can't think of the name, because you know what, I'm sitting on the stage and it might not. But stop by over there later, and I'll pull it out of my computer and I'll
They answered. I have the same question.
Did someone else back there have a question?
They have the same question.
Yeah, but these things are coming. There are companies out there that are thinking about this and that are making some big strides in this. The biggest problem with this is, you know, you already have your team on Reich, right? But now you look at a grenadine and it's another productivity tool, right? And so now they have to use two things. So now which one are you going to dump? Are you going to dump Reich, which has been working really, really well for everybody, just so you can do the AV stuff? And so, yeah, this whole side of it needs to come along. You know, and again, I'm sure that there are, I can't think of it. But yeah, they're coming. So stop over at the tech desk and I'll put it in and go.
Maybe just an observation. I saw that Dahlia uses LastPass.
Yes.
And for the longest time, I did not use a password manager. I was listening to you say it, and I love it. So,
Wonderful.
Any other opinions from the panel about the
LastPass? If you are managing your passwords in either Post-its on your computer or on an Excel sheet or in a little black book in your back pocket, I'm looking at you, then it's time that you look at a LastPass, Dashlane,
I'll go a step further, and I will say if you are still doing that and members of your organization are still doing that, you're putting everyone at risk. You're putting your attendees' data at risk. You're putting credit cards at risk. This is a place where I go off. Use something like LastPass, which has enterprise capabilities, so that you can, and that way you can revoke access from, like, let's say, you know, we've been all talking sweet and nice, but what happens when you fire someone? You need to be able to revoke their access to everything immediately, and using a tool like LastPass, you can do that.
LastPass. So LastPass, what it does is it remembers your logins across all your mobile devices.
Isn't that hackable?
Is it hackable?
Yeah.
Everything on the planet's hackable.
Everything on the planet.
Everything. Yes, it is.
Yes.
So here's
everything.
But you know, okay, I'm going to leave my door unlocked because somebody could break it in, right? You know, you have to try. You have to do your best. And LastPass did have a hack about 2 years ago, and since they've stepped it up.
But I mean, it's you know, you look at LastPass from the standpoint of memory. You don't need to memorize X, Y, and Z, not necessarily because I think that I'm locking everything down so nobody can get it, which is not realistic to me.
But it takes you. So here's the thing. What we did. Was this useful for you?
Yes.
Should it be like longer, or should it be different topics, or because we want to make sure that we're doing it right for you.
Longer.
What?
Longer.
A little longer? With a couple of drinks, maybe?
Apps. We get on apps.
Okay, that works for me too. But what I was going to say is, all these solutions that we discussed right now, you know, the technology is awesome. The tools for you are right there. Like, you downloaded LastPass right now. It depends on you taking the shift from your existing workflows and habits. That is essential. Whether you're going to go and do teamwork, whether you're going to do LastPass and get rid of that little piece of paper in your back pocket, whatever it is, you are doing the shift. You have to do the change, and it is different workflows. That's the success of any technology that you put in motion. Did I say that right?
And he's given us the.
Oh, I know that. So we got like this, like in the Oscars way back when.
No,
we keep going.
Just regarding LastPass, can you use that for personal, like across every website, like Amazon?
Everything. It scans it for you and pulls it.
Okay.
And then it gives you a report and says you're not doing great. You're at 20%. You can be at 100.
And then if you want to have fun one day, there's a website called How Secure Is My Password, and try out some of your passwords. You will absolutely find a job.
Well, LastPass also tells you the strength of your password, and it tells you when you have one password that you've used for so many different accounts.
It's little jokes.
Does anybody have that?
Everybody, even people,
even me. So thank you so much. Please share your thoughts on this session in the app or with us at the Tech Bar, because we truly want to make it better for next year. And if you have any questions, Tech Bar.
Repeat it?
The very, very end.
Yeah?
Someone brushed past that.
Oh, thank you. Okay.